Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Justus Schreiber. This is my Mk7 GTI, and today we're going to go over it because we did something pretty exciting. We tuned it. We finally tuned it. So let's get into the intro and let's talk about what we did with this little thing to that car. Alright, so off the rip, the Golf is now tuned. It is running in EQT Stage 191 tune, along with their DSG tune, using the COBB Accessport as our mode of flashing and just monitoring the tune. My buddy Evan, who also had a Mk7 GTI, if you guys have seen him on the channel before, back when we put the wheels on the Golf, I can't remember which video it was, but he was in one of our previous videos regarding the Golf. I believe it might have been the exhaust video. He had his car tuned with this COBB, but since then he has sold his GTI, and he actually was very, very kind and gave me his Accessport for free. Only thing we had to do was get the DSG unlocked for the COBB, as his car was manual, so he didn't require it. So his Accessport wasn't able to tune DSG. Thankfully, super easy to unlock these. If you go to EQT's website, they have a link or basically a little file that you can buy to unlock the COBB Accessport, allowing you to tune and monitor the DSG transmissions in these cars. Went ahead, did that. Also purchased again their Stage 191 tune for the Mk7 GTI. This is a 2017 US spec, built in Mexico car. So it does have burbles and pops, which is cool. I only chose to do that in sport mode. This car does have stock downpipe, just a catback exhaust. And I can confirm to you that the burbles and pops are not crazy. They are perfect in my eyes. I know some of you guys like loud shit, but with the stock downpipe, this car sounds phenomenal. It's not loud at all. I will possibly do a video where we actually drive it so you guys can hear everything, but this is more just talking about how the car is performing and been with the tune. Some maintenance related things when you're going tuned that they recommend is one, going a stage colder on your plugs. So this is actually running the Denso, one second, all right, the Denso 5749 plugs. This is a step colder spark plug for the GTIs. They're also a non-projected tip, which is something EQT started recommending after quite a few people were incorrectly gapping their plugs. EQT does recommend that you gap the plugs down to 0.024 to make sure that you have good. It's kind of a surefire way, or just a very safe way to run your spark plugs on these vehicles. That's what they recommend. And to do it correctly, you need one of these tools right here. This is a very basic one, but this is a proper spark plug gapping tool. You don't just fucking hit it with a hammer, or at least hit the tip. So these are my old plugs. These are just stock Bosch plugs that have a projected tip, as you can see. And they just basically, you would sit it in here like so, and then you're able to use a feeler gauge right here, find the right measurement you need, and then slip it in between the electrode and the tip, and then you screw this down to bend said tip like so, and then it would give you your correct gap. So that is one major thing to keep in mind when setting up or preparing to tune. Make sure you get a step colder plugs with a non-projectile electrode tip. The plugs are expensive, I'm not gonna lie, but there are alternatives. I've seen a lot of dudes stand by the Brisk ER12s, which is also a non-projected step colder plug for the EA 888 2-liter turbos, and people run those with no issues. Mind you, I'm stage 1, and I'm also a bit of a nerd and freak, and I overanalyze everything when it comes to cars. So for me, spending the extra money on the Denso 5749s, I had no issue justifying that. So went ahead and tossed those in there. Car's been tuned for about 1,200 miles now. No hiccups, it's been very good. The only thing I have noticed, and maybe it's just because I can monitor everything now on the COBB, is the intake temps are effing high. Mind you, this is stock intercooler. It's also Arizona. It is 105 plus degrees during the day when I'm going to work and coming home from work. So my intake air temps are extremely high. One thing too that you guys also want to know, once you go tuned, you're gonna be able to see pretty much everything statistically on your COBB, at least the important stuff. And a lot of things that I have noticed that I have just been eyeballing and keeping a constant eye on is my knock retard average. On EQT's website, their FAQ, basically their resource base, they recommend nothing higher than 3. I can tell you for a damn fact, just from driving around, especially with stock intercooler, extremely high temps, and not the greatest gas in Arizona. I have been running Circle K gas, and I'm trying to find a better station with higher quality fuel. My knock has been pretty average, around 2 to 2.75 on casual driving. When stepping on it, it doesn't really see anything higher than that with wide open throttle. But before I put the plugs in, because I did run about a day or two with the stock plugs, I did see a knock retard hit an average, or at least hit a high of around 5 to 5.7, just cruising around. Also, you don't want to lug these motors. When you basically are just in a higher gear at a low RPM and you start to get on it, your knock's going to go up. That's just how these motors are designed to operate, to get the best fuel economy out of the vehicle. So nothing crazy there. You will see stuff like that if you are lugging your motor around once you're tuned, because you can actually see all the data. A lot of guys call the Accessport the anxiety port, and that you just toss it in your glove box. And honestly, I can see why. Being able to see all your numbers and all your data constantly, it's a bit overwhelming. If you have a brain like mine where you're over analyzing everything, you want to make sure your motor's really happy and healthy, it can get to that point. However, I can confirm the car's been running fantastic. There's been no hiccups, no misfires. Pulls strong, even in this heat. In the early morning when it's cool out, it's fantastic. So let's show you a little bit of the setup on this, what we got going on inside the car, so you can kind of see how I have this mounted and kind of what I look at when the car's running. Getting inside, as you can see, we have our Accessport dongle over here. I have that running down behind the trim to the actual OBD. So I just pop this guy off, take the Accessport. It does have a magnetic back. Now they do have suction cup holders that you can run up there. I didn't like how it obstructed my view so much, so I just put it here, and it gives me a good amount of view of everything from my eyesight, because I'm a little bit higher, probably like out there. I'm able to read everything off pretty easily. I do take it out every time I stop the car. You don't have to do that. I just find that in the heat, the Accessport gets really hot outside. So we're gonna let it plug in here. I'll turn the ignition on just so you can see everything. So you can set up custom wallpapers here like so, which is pretty cool. It's gonna load and recognize your ECU. And then it'll pull up your screen with all your gauges. So I have intake air temp at the top right, my AFR usually on the left, engine oil temp, coolant temp, knock retard average in the bottom left, and then I actually am running the relative manifold pressure instead of the PSI gauge. Everyone has told me this is way more accurate than the PSI reading, as this is reading directly off the manifold pressure, and you'll actually see when it's in vacuum and when it's not, compared to the PSI gauge, which purely only shows you how much boost it's making. But I've noticed with the relative manifold pressure, it is way more accurate numbers compared to what the PSI gauge was. Few things to know when you are tuning these cars. I wish I had recorded all this when we were doing it. You want to have a charger on it, a float charger, keeping a constant supply of 12 volt or plus, like 12 to 14 volt supply voltage to the vehicle while you're tuning. The initial tune when you're linking the COBB to your car takes quite a while. I think it took me a total of 45 minutes to do the ECU and TCU or DSG flash with the float charger on it, and just kind of letting the COBB do its thing. It's super important that you don't interrupt it, you don't mess with the ignition stage unless it tells you to, and that you just let it do its whole thing. It's super simple. There's 1,000 videos on the internet of how to tune your Golf or MQB platform. I found it to be very easy. Mind you, I am an automotive technician, so the basic knowledge of putting a charger on a car and then plugging something in and letting it program, super familiar to me, especially with everything that I deal with at work. So I didn't find this any more difficult than plugging in a scanner and letting it do its thing. But it's been fantastic. Like I said, the car pulls really strong. The DSG tune, I think I noticed the most, as it changes your shift points so much, and it does actually do good amount of increased responsiveness to the throttle positions. It's definitely more touchy, but if you leave it in drive mode, the shifts are more strong and keep it in a better RPM for the RPM range for the motor. I also noticed that my fuel economy has not taken a hit at all, unless I'm romping on the car, then of course it's going to take a hit. But it's fantastic. It's been really nice having the DSG tune on here. One other thing I want to touch on, if you are a dual clutch car, I did a dual clutch transmission service before tuning the vehicle so that it had fresh fluid and a fresh filter in the transmission. It is a little bit more difficult and more involved than an oil change, but it's not impossible to do. But I would recommend doing all your fluids before getting tuned. Get a fresh oil change in there, do a fresh transmission flush alongside doing your plugs, just so that you have a good baseline for when you first flash the tune to watch your values and make sure that your motor is happy and healthy with proper fluid levels, good fluid quality at that, and good spark. Again, I'm stock intake, stock downpipe. This car had no issues accepting the tune and immediately drove amazing out of the rip. Touching back a little bit on the pops and bangs, I did opt for the pops and bangs. I'm a hooligan. I like a little bit of noise, and I think the GTIs sound pretty decent with it, at least when you have stock cat. I know a lot of you guys are running downpipes and whatnot, so it'll probably be a lot louder if you have a modified downpipe. But with stock downpipe and a catback exhaust, the burbles are perfect. You can still hear them in the cabin, but with the windows down, it's actually quite nice. And it's not an AK tune, which I'm glad about. It's more of a, you kind of, on upshifts, you hear a little gunshot kind of thing. And then when you let off throttle, it actually makes a very nice noise. It just kind of goes like 1 to 2, 3 little burbles, and then it chills out. But it sounds fantastic, and it doesn't sound insane. So overall, I highly recommend tuning your car. If you're getting more involved, like a stage 2 or anything beyond that, off-the-shelf tunes or OTS tunes, I recommend you start looking into more upgrades to keep the car cool, like maybe an oil cooler alongside a front mount intercooler or a proper, thicker intercooler replacement for the stock location. I do plan on doing a front mount intercooler next, as I didn't realize my intake temps were gonna be this high. Mind you, it's peak summer, so I haven't fully gotten to enjoy the car in a cool weather environment with good intake temps. But we will be doing a front mount intercooler eventually, as it is the most budget-friendly option to get the intake temps down, and it's not as involved as putting in a stock replacement location one, and it will give me the results that I need or would like to see temperature-wise, even though I'm not going past stage 1. This car is going to stay at this stage level tune because I don't need any more than this, and this now, it woke it up so much with the new tire setup and wheel setup. The grip levels have increased, the power has increased, transmission feels fantastic. The tune was truly a huge eye-opener for this car, and I highly recommend you guys go and tune your MQB platform 2-liter turbo car, or 1.8 if you have that as well. They're fantastic. Do some research. I went with EQT. They yielded the best results in numbers and just cost effectiveness and reliability. I know Integrated Engineering has some good tunes out there as well. They're a little bit more conservative on their side of tuning, which is fine, but I wanted the most bang for my buck, so I went EQT. Apologies, the camera died, so we're on the phone now. However, what I was trying to say is, if you want a more clean, direct tune to maximize your power output, you can get a professional individual tune where you data log the car off a base tune, you set it back and forth, and you guys work out with the kinks based on your specific modifications. I did not want to do that. I don't need all that power, and I'm happy with the stage 1 tune on this car. But if you're looking for a more perfected tune or a more specialized application, then that might be the route to go for you. So that's it. That's all I have to say about tuning my car on EQT Stage 1 with a COBB Accessport. Highly recommend you do it. If you guys have any further questions about it, please go ahead, drop a comment. I'll do my best to answer them. There's a bunch of forums on tuning your Golf or MQB platform. It's super simple to do, very much worth it. It gets the most bang out of your buck. Should also mention the car is at 94,000 miles now. Everything's looking good maintenance-wise. This car's been really taken care of. But just make sure you do your basic maintenance before you look into getting the tune. Take care of all mechanical issues you have. Otherwise, the tune is only going to exacerbate that further and show you the weak points in the car. So, if you guys want to see more videos like this, check them out. We got a bunch below. Last week's video, or last video, not last week's, but last video, we did the overview on the new wheel and tire setup. Since then, I did roll the fenders. Rolling good now, no more rubbing. That is getting revived currently. The last time you guys saw that car was probably when it was still green. So we'll have a video out on that next, but a lot of stuff's going on with the Z. We're getting it ready for next season. So thanks for watching. Let's let the outro roll. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
This won't clear my name. I had the